So our next group of presenters and I have one thing in common. They've all experienced a loss of a loved one or a serious injury in a traffic crash. These are folks who have channeled their grief into action and now advocate for safer streets. They are members of Families for Safe Streets. The first Families for Safe Streets chapter originated in New York City, I think it was in 2014. And now there are over 15 chapters across the nation. This is a group that no one should belong to. Let's hear from them what other cities and states are doing on preventing these traffic deaths. Thank you everyone for joining. I do appreciate it. And, so I think we're going to start from, I want to start from east to west. So Debbie, why don't you share, because you represent the New York City chapter and you were the first group to initiate the Families for Safe Streets. So tell us a little bit more about what New York City is doing.
Hi, my name is Debbie Kahn, and I'm a founding member of Families for Safe Streets in New York City. 11 years ago, my only child, my kind, caring, creative, funny, talented son, my 22-year-old son, Seth, was run over and killed by a reckless bus driver while Seth was walking across the street in a crosswalk with the right-of-way. Not a day goes by that I do not miss my son dearly. After my son was killed, I struggled for years to find meaning in my life, until in 2014, we formed Families for Safe Streets. With chapters forming across the country, we have begun a national movement to end this epidemic. Through helping others going through the same situation as myself and fighting to save others by advocating for street safety, I learned that my story can help save lives. By saving others, I saved myself. Families for Safe Streets offers a support community with monthly meetings, peer mentoring, friends groups, online support groups, logistical assistance, resource guides in several languages, a website filled with valuable information, and a lot more. In our first year, we celebrated a major victory in New York City in getting the speed limit lowered to 25 miles an hour. We won our campaign for speed safety cameras all across the city after building a coalition of over 300 organizations, hosting vigils and marathons, delivering 400 boxes of pudding to an obstinate state senator, and even going to jail.
Yep.
I always wanted to call my mother from jail to come and bail me out. At 94 years old, she laughed, and I meant it. From transforming the Boulevard of Death, Queens Boulevard, to getting reckless drivers off the road with the Dangerous Driver Abatement Program, and so much more. Legislatively, we are currently working on the Crash Victims Bill of Rights, which would give New Yorkers involved in traffic crashes the same rights as crime victims. We are committed to working with elected officials to end the public health epidemic of traffic violence. Join us to get dangerous drivers off the road, hold reckless drivers accountable after a crash, and demand that all streets are designed for safety. We fight to end all traffic violence because no death or life-altering injury is acceptable. We believe no one should have to endure the physical, emotional, and spiritual trauma of traffic violence alone. Together, we can end this epidemic so no one else has to suffer. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you. And this is my son, Seth.
And so I met Debbie back in 2015, or uh, maybe it was 2017 actually, at the Vision Zero conference in New York City. And we have stayed in touch. In fact, everyone that's in this group, I met them at the Vision Zero City conference, and we have connected in a way that it's because of a common cause. And so moving along and staying on the East Coast, Aisha, DC, what's happening in the DC area?
Thank you, Sangeeta, and good morning, everyone. My name is Aisha Gadiali. I'm part of the steering committee of Washington, D.C. Families for Safe Streets. About 2 years ago, I was crossing a major street in downtown D.C., and I was struck by an SUV. I was on a pedestrian marked crosswalk. I'm very lucky. I had to have surgery on my face in order to chew and breathe normally. I was in a wheelchair with broken bones in both my legs. But with the support of family and friends, I was able to get better and learn about what was going on DC streets. I learned about Vision Zero and that any death on the street due to traffic is unacceptable. Through Families for Safe Streets in DC, we have advocated and publicly testified at City Hall for the Vision Zero Omnibus Bill. This bill reduces the miles per hour limit in DC to 20 miles per hour and reduces the number of right turns on red lights. It also protects sidewalks and promotes a network of protected bike lanes throughout the district. I'm happy to say that the first reading of this bill passed the City Council in July. It will go to a second reading at the end of this month and then go to the mayor's office and will hopefully pass.
That's great.
We'll be rooting for you over here, Aisha.
Thank you. On a personal note, I would like to say that I'm from the tri-state area. I have many nieces and nephews in Freehold and Bloomfield. I want them to be able to walk and bike and skate safely in New Jersey. If New Jersey becomes a leader on Vision Zero now, by the time my nieces and nephews are old enough to drive and take the Nikhil Badlani pledge, New Jersey can drastically eliminate all unnecessary deaths. Other countries have done it. We can do it too. Thank you for the opportunity to share my story.
Thank you, Aisha. Thank you. And now moving to the middle of Americas, to Texas, Kathy.
Hey everybody, I'm Kathy Sikolik from Central Texas Families for Safe Streets. On September 12th, 2016, so 4 years ago yesterday, my 9-year-old nephew Ben was hit by a pickup truck in front of his home. While Ben is still alive, he actually requires 24-hour care from nursing staff. He cannot speak, walk, or do anything on his own. And at first there was hope for recovery, but after 4 years, we realized that recovery is unlikely. I joined my local Vision Zero group here in Austin, Texas, because I was really, really angry. I couldn't believe this happened, and there had to be something I could do, some change I could make, so this didn't happen to others. I found Families for Safe Streets and knew there were others sharing their own pain for change, and I knew I had found others who were fighting alongside me. What we start at home changes the world. The efforts we make in our own cities expands to state and federal levels. In Austin, we've had success with our local electeds supporting Vision Zero, which is spread throughout the Texas Department of Transportation. We're a big state, y'all. We got a lot of roads. We're making change by sharing our stories, our pain, with those who can create policy. Thank you so much for having us here, Sangeeta, for your event.
Well, thank you. And now moving along to the West Coast. We have Jerry and John, and I am so appreciative. It must be what, 6:45 over there right now. So you've been up since like 6 on this call. And so we really appreciate you coming on, and we want to hear what's happening in LA, in South California.
You want me to begin, Sangeeta? I'll start. Hi, everybody. I'm Jerry Lynch, and you guys got me up really early this morning. I've actually been up since 4 a.m. I'm so excited. I guess that it reminds me of what we would be doing, getting ready for an event here in Los Angeles. My son, Connor Lynch, was killed. It'll be 10 years on October 19th, 2010. And He was crossing the street for cross-country training at Notre Dame High School and was killed by an 18-year-old distracted hit-and-run non-licensed driver. It happened, well, I found out later, during a National Teen Driver Safety Week. And I guess that sort of led me to, research what was going on with distracted driving at that time. So like you, I started the Connor Lynch Foundation and did a lot of runs. Coming up will be our 10th anniversary. And, it turned into a celebration of life. I think it's good to know that it's not just on the East Coast. It's not just in one city. It's across the nation and actually global. But, we don't want our loved ones to be a statistic. And I think allowing us, thank you so much, to share our stories is really helpful. And we used to run, well, we still do. Hopefully we'll do it again. I have 2 other boys and we did triathlons and runs. And I'm just so excited that all of you are going to get out there and do your running, your walking, or your biking. But when you do it, really, be careful out there and pay attention and put your phones down. In Los Angeles, we're proud to say that we've adopted Vision Zero. On the other hand, we haven't done such a great job, and we've had more pedestrian deaths over the last several years. So we are not going in the right direction. We've also become the hit and run capital, I think, of our nation. So there's a lot of work to be done. So allowing us to share these messages, to share these stories with this group that I love. I'm looking forward to working with you guys at the Vision Zero conference, albeit virtually. There's a lot to be done everywhere. We need your help, and we need you to be safe out there. I also work with John Yee. He's the executive director of LA Walks and also the director of SoCal Families for Safe Streets, of which I am a member. And he's going to tell you about all the things that we're doing with these organizations. And again, I wish you the best of luck, great success. Thank you for your 10 years. I mean, it's a lot of work to put these together, and the virtual event so far has been really great. And I hope it's a really big success for everybody. Stay safe out there and don't drive intoxicated. Bye, everyone.
Jerry. John.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Jerry. Again, props go out to Jerry. She's sort of my partner in crime in doing all the organizing work we do for SoCal Families for Safe Streets. Before I dive in, I just want to give a shout out to New Jersey. I actually grew up in New Jersey. I lived in Princeton. My parents live in New Milford. I lived in Bergen County. So I'm a Jersey boy at heart. And it was New Jersey where I learned to take New Jersey Transit into New York City. It was New Jersey where I took the buses into New York City. And so I sort of grew up in this culture and this really rich tradition of connecting the suburbs to the city. And I was sort of lived that. And I didn't really realize what that meant to me until I moved to Los Angeles, where it was so car centric. And so, yeah, it's really exciting to see the work that's happening in New Jersey. And I'll have to make sure my parents are connected with it. They're still out there. So a little bit about Los Angeles Walks, but also about Families for Safe Streets. We are operating in a very interesting city. In Los Angeles, every 36 hours, an Angelino is killed in a car crash. The leading cause of death for elementary and middle school children in LA are car crashes. Mm-hmm. And so it's not just something about infrastructure, it's an actual health epidemic that is national, but from LA, it's super acute, especially for communities of color, for immigrant communities, for women, and especially for seniors. So we definitely have a huge crisis here. And so Jerry shared a little bit about what we do, but we know some basic stuff is we have our bi-monthly meetings. And really, I think one of the strengths, at least with our chapter, is, we're a collection of families, but in a way, we're also a collection of family foundations. The Connor Lynch Foundation, which Jerry was mentioning, is one of a number of different family foundations. There's another one called Street Racing Kills that focuses specifically on street racing. We have another family foundation that talks about hit and runs. And so definitely it's a collection of power in a way. And that's, I think, the one thing that really makes our group super unique. We've done policy actions, such as last year, we went to, or was it this year? When the Democrats were having their presidential debate in Los Angeles, some of our parents actually went out with signs and posters to really raise visibility about traffic fatalities. We also did a joint letter to our state senator, our US Senator Kamala Harris. We also have a program with LA City called Rainbow Halo, where we put up these Rainbow Halo memorials to memorialize pedestrians. And it's interesting, when the program first rolled out, it got a lot of criticism from folks on our end, which is like, why are we just doing thoughts and prayers for pedestrian deaths? And it was completely legit. And so what we're doing with this program is we're using it to remind the city of its commitment to Vision Zero, as Jerry was mentioning, which is to go 0 deaths by 2025 in like 4.5 years, which is not going to happen. So again, it's important for us to keep pushing these messages. And then finally, if I was to summarize what we do, I think it's just one of two things. We create space for to network and build community, and then opportunities for action. I think by providing those two simple things, especially when everyone's social distancing, has been a really great way just to build community and network. And so I think moments like this is just a part of that. So really glad to be here with you all. Looking forward to being partners with you. So thank you.
Thank you all for sharing your thoughts, and I look forward to work with you over the World Day of Remembrance that's coming up in November, and then also the Vision Zero City Conference. So thank you again, and Jerry and John, try and catch some Z's now while you can before your day begins. And Debbie, Aisha, and Kathy, I thank you all.
My sister lives in New Jersey, and her children went to West Orange High School.
Oh, wow. Look at that. What a coincidence.
So we all have this connection.
Yes.
To you. Your family.
I'm a participant. I'm a participant in your event, so I'm going to not go to sleep. I'm going to go out and get my run on.
I'm going to be doing the same right after the ceremony. So thank you, and we will see you soon.
We applaud you. Thank you.